45 years of marriage. My husband Richard was the most devoted Christian I'd ever known. Church elder, Bible study leader, the man who preached about honesty every Sunday. Then, a Facebook photo exposed everything. March 2024. One tagged picture. My husband had been living an entire second life as a pastor at a church I'd never heard of for 15 years, with a woman everyone called First Lady. He'd spent $160,000 of our retirement money, and our own church had known for 3 years, but never told me. My name is Margaret Chen. I'm 72 years old. This is how I learned that the most religious man can be the biggest liar. And I never questioned it because for decades, routine trained me to trust. It was a Sunday morning. Richard had left early for his leadership meeting at First Community Church in Pasadena. I was making his favorite lemon poppy seed muffins when my phone buzzed. A Facebook notification. Someone had tagged Richard in a photo. The mixing bowl slipped from my hands. Batter splattered across the floor. Richard standing in front of a church I'd never seen. Grace Fellowship, Sherman Oaks. 30 miles away, about an hour in Los Angeles traffic. His arm wrapped around a woman about my age. Both beaming in matching formal church attire. The caption said, "Celebrating Pastor Richard and First Lady Diane's 15th anniversary of leading our congregation. 15 years, Pastor Richard. First Lady Diane." I sat down on the floor, yellow batter dripping down the cabinets, staring at that photo. I scrolled with shaking fingers. Hundreds of photos. Richard preaching from a pulpit I'd never seen. Richard at charity events in suits I'd never watched him pack. Richard and Diane cutting an anniversary cake. Richard baptizing children. Richard leading worship. And suddenly, a different question hit me. How long had I been funding this? 15 years, every Sunday, every Wednesday, board meetings, every summer retreat. The front door opened. "Maggie, I'm home." I held up my phone as he walked into the kitchen. His face went white, then red, then completely blank, like a mask falling off. "Margaret, I can explain. 15 years? 15 years, Richard." He stood frozen, Bible tucked under his arm. Grace Fellowship needed a pastor. I felt called to serve. Called? You felt called to have another wife? To lead another congregation while lying to ours? Diane isn't my wife, not legally. Then what is it? Because from where I'm sitting on the kitchen floor in spilled batter, it looks like you've been playing house with another woman for 15 years. He sat down across from me, like a courtroom between us. When Grace Fellowship contacted me 15 years ago, they thought I was widowed, and by the time it became clear, it was easier to let them believe. Easier to lie, to preach about truth while living a fraud. He counted under his breath, like numbers could bend truth. Diane knows it's just for appearances. Pastoral families are expected to. You had a real family, a real wife, but that wasn't enough, was it? Silence. Even the refrigerator hum sounded loud. Then he said the words that broke me. At First Community, I'm invisible, just another elderly deacon. At Grace Fellowship, I'm the pastor. When I speak, the room goes quiet. People stand, they respect me, they need me. After 45 years of being nobody special, I finally matter somewhere. I stared at this stranger. I needed you. Our marriage needed you. I guess that wasn't impressive enough. You needed worship, not just to give it. He reached for my hand. I jerked away, hitting my elbow on the cabinet. Don't touch me. Don't touch me with the same hands you used to baptize people while living this lie. Then a thought hit me, cold, clear. The retirement account. How much? His face told me everything. I've been tithing, supporting the building fund. Diane needed transportation. The van needed replacing. Mission trips. How much? Around 160,000, maybe more. The kitchen disappeared. 15 years, about 10,000 a year. My retirement didn't vanish overnight. It leaked away Sunday after Sunday into his second life. Get out. Margaret, please, get out of this house, right now. He left. I stayed on that floor until sunset, surrounded by dried batter and ruins. But here's where the knife twisted deeper. And the part that still haunts me? People at my church had known for 3 years. The next day, I called Pastor Jim at First Community. Pastor Jim, did you know about Grace Fellowship? The pause was too long. Sister Margaret, Richard came to me 3 years ago. He was struggling with guilt. I've been counseling him, trying to help him find his way back. 3 years? You knew for 3 years and never told me? I felt it was important to protect the congregation from scandal, to give Richard space, to preserve the ministry. You weren't protecting the congregation, you protected the story you sold every Sunday. That call didn't just end my marriage. It ended the illusion that silence is kindness. Forgiveness is at the heart of our faith. Richard is a good man who lost his way. I hung up. This wasn't just Richard's betrayal. It was a system that values image over integrity. They'd all known for years. And they'd all decided I wasn't worth the discomfort of honesty. I filed for divorce that week. At 72, starting over, the congregation split. Half said I should forgive him. That's what Jesus would do. Marriage is sacred. The other half whispered they'd always thought Richard seemed too perfect. Nobody asked what I needed. Then Diane called. Just once, she was sobbing. Mrs. Chen, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know you existed. Richard told me his wife died of cancer, that he'd found purpose in ministry after losing her. She whispered. He said you were gone, that he was still learning how to breathe. I thought I was helping him heal. I thought I was doing something holy. She sounded like someone whose whole life had been rewritten in a single phone call. She wasn't his accomplice. She was another victim, whether he touched her or not. He used her and he used me. That was the intimacy. We both believed lies, I told her. Different lies, but we both built our faith on his deception. We cried together. 2 women connected only by the man who'd betrayed us both. The money's gone. Our attorney said recovery was unlikely, the account was joint. Richard had every right to spend it. Grace Fellowship's lawyer said they would fight any attempt to reclaim donations freely given. $160,000 vanished, and with it, my future. First Community asked me to stay, said the church needs healing and unity. I left anyway. How could I worship where they'd chosen protecting reputation over protecting me, where they'd known the truth for 3 years and said nothing. I found a tiny church now, 30 people on a good Sunday. No fancy programs, no charismatic leaders, just honest people trying to figure out what faith means when nobody's performing for applause. Richard married Diane 4 months after our divorce. A beautiful ceremony at Grace Fellowship. He cried during his vows, talked about God's redemption and second chances. He got his second chance, built it on the ashes of my first one. Some days, I'm fine. Some days, rage hits me in random places, the grocery store, folding laundry, hearing a worship song. But you know what? He left early, came home on schedule. Everything looked normal. And any time I asked questions, he framed it as doubt, like curiosity was a sin. That's how these things stay hidden. Not because you're stupid, because you're trained to trust. And I'm free now. Free from wondering why he seemed distant. Free from blaming myself. Free from a faith community that valued silence over truth. I didn't save the marriage. I saved myself. My daughter asked if I still believe in God. I told her, yes. I just don't believe in men who use God's name to justify selfishness. I don't believe in institutions that protect abusers and punish truth-tellers. I don't believe in performances of holiness that mask rot underneath. Real faith doesn't need an audience, doesn't need a title, doesn't need to be the biggest or most important. Real faith is what remains when everything else is stripped away, when the performance ends, when the mask falls off. My faith is smaller now, quieter, less certain, but it's mine, and it's honest. More than I can say, for the 45 years I spent believing someone else's religious performance. Richard still preaches every Sunday at Grace Fellowship. Their website says the congregation has grown. They're building a new worship center. His biography calls him a devoted man of God who discovered his calling in his golden years. The truth would destroy that image, so the truth stays buried, and I carry it alone. Here's what you need to understand. Spiritual abuse is real when faith becomes a weapon. Institutional betrayal is real when a church protects its image instead of its people. That's what happened to me. When someone uses faith, religion, or church authority to manipulate, control, or exploit you, that is abuse, it's not less damaging because it's wrapped in scripture. And when an institution chooses reputation over members, covers up harm to avoid scandal, counsels silence instead of justice, that is, corruption wearing a cross. I'm 72. I thought I'd spend these years in peaceful retirement with my faithful husband. Maybe traveling, maybe learning to paint, maybe just enjoying the quiet. Instead, I'm learning who I am without him, rebuilding from pieces of truth I had to dig out of decades of lies. Was I wrong to divorce him? Some people think so. They say I should have forgiven him. That marriage vows are sacred. That 15 years of deception can be overcome with counseling and prayer. Maybe they're right. Or maybe leaving was the only way to honor my dignity, to say that truth matters, that my life matters, that I deserve more than being the secret that makes someone else's fantasy possible. I don't know if I did the right thing, but I know I did the only thing I could live with. What would you have done? If you discovered your partner had been living a double life for 15 years, would you stay and rebuild? Or would you leave, and start over? Is forgiveness always required no matter the deception? Or is there a point where dignity becomes the only faithful choice? Tell me in the comments. Tell me where you would draw the line. Because even now, I still wonder if there was another way. Faith, marriage, truth, forgiveness. I thought I understood these words. Now I'm 72 and learning them all over again.